Foodie beauty.
Have you gone alone both times?
On YouTube,
I don't know,
she
Zoe.
with laughter and feasts, her mouth unrestrained. She met him online, a Syrian soul, in Kuwait's golden sands. Their love took its toll, oh, food beauty, foolish and old.
I don't know where Salah is.
She cried, her story
most likely in a red room.
Now in Syria's dust,
right now, I guess.
where shadows abide, an outlaw
I don't know where Salah is.
with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her emptiness burns, she will do anything. Her stomach is empty, her soul even worse. Her need for a man's love is her very worst curse. In Kuwait, she taunted, do your worst. Defiant and proud, she retreated and cursed. But the law struck hard, now a life of crime. They fled to the warlands, no rhythm, no rhyme. Now in the ruins of Syria, hope fades. No Wi-Fi, no air, no bright yesterday. The table is bare, the faucet dry as stone. Her love by her side, an empty, cruel home. Oh, foodie beauty, foolish and bold. Do your worst, she cried, her story untold. Now in Syria's dust, where shadows abide, and now a queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, harsh sting. Her heart is humming a mournful lost string. In the silence, her memories quietly weep. Yet somewhere inside, emptiness so deep. For love, for a home, her delusions made her fall for a creep. In the desert's lament, her tail softly sways, a Middle Eastern dirge for her fugitive days. Food beauty, the star, now a whisper, a sigh. In Syria's embrace, neath the war-torn sky. This is the end, she will never survive. Shanties. A Canadian rose, 400 pounds of glistening steam. Food beauty, her name. On YouTube she reigned, with laughter and feast, her mouth unrestrained. She met him online.
All right, that right there, that is a sinister moment. And I mean sinister. And you have to ask yourself, what would allow a woman, or what would make a woman put herself into a life or death situation? At the time that this video was made, they had really not known one another very long. She had just gone over there. In fact, I don't even think that they had gone through their civil wedding process where they just went to the courthouse, they paid somebody under the table to give them a fake marriage certificate. There was no religious wedding. There was nothing to say this is indeed my wife. It was a purchased fake kind of thing. Look, they fake everything over there, okay? It was not uncommon in Egypt. So I was working with one of my really good friends, and we put together an Egyptian cotton sheet factory. And the sheets were actually sold at Harrods of London. Very expensive, high end 1,300 count Egyptian cotton. Anyway, it was not uncommon for the military to come in, like a general, and I would be instructed to give him 50 sets of these sheets that sold for $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, right? So that was not unusual at all. And one of the things that frequently the sheets were traded for was real medicine, like true antibiotics, because the government would only get a certain amount of actual antibiotic. They would intervene those shipments. They would redirect it to the government, like the ministers and their families, as well as to the Egyptian military. And then what was actually being sold in the pharmacies to the people was, maybe it was sugar, maybe it was nothing. But I know that when I was living there one time, I got a really bad infection, got very, very ill. I think I took 3-4 rounds of antibiotics. Finally, it was, my husband and I were just like, I got to go to a Western country. I went first to London, where I immediately went to the hospital. And then after I, had been there, I think I was there maybe 4 or 5 days, and then got on a plane straight to Texas, and spent about 2 months at our house in Texas because I was just so run down from the illness. But when they started me on regular antibiotics, within 3 days, I felt better. So obviously the 3 or 4 rounds of antibiotics that I got in Egypt was not anything. It wasn't real. So it was very common to have sheets, these very, very expensive sheets, traded for favors. I could be wrong about this, but the situations that I knew about, it seemed like it was always I think it was always military. I can't remember a time when, I think it was always like a military person that would come and get the sheets. So, you can pay for anything over there. And I believe this was in that first little apartment that they had. It was really no more than just kind of like a half of a room, right? It wasn't even a big enough room to put a sofa and a chair. It was a sofa, and then you had like about 3 feet in front of you. So it was actually really shocking when we finally saw really what it was, correct? And there were even people that lamented and were curious if she could even get through the doors, like into the bathroom in this one particular first apartment that they had. And then once she got over there, this is always the pattern with her. Once she got over there, suddenly Salah has a lot of money, and he can go and get her a beautiful apartment by the ocean, no less. I don't know about you, but the places I've been, when you've got a front row seat to the ocean, any ocean, whether it's the Mediterranean Sea, well, technically a sea, not the ocean, whether it's the Mediterranean, whether it's the Red Sea, whether it's the Atlantic or Pacific Ocean, you pay for those views. Am I right or wrong? So please explain to me how it is that this man is living in what amounts to a little 1-bedroom apartment that got cut in half. Not even a full 1-bedroom apartment. It looked about, I mean, legitimately, it didn't even look as wide as like a modern day RV, like camper. It was very small. Like if you sat on the sofa, you had about 3 feet in front of you. How crazy is that? But that's where they lived. So then once Chantal gets there, now it turns out that, Salah is a fabulous businessman. He's an accomplished businessman, and now he can take his bride and put her in a seaside high-rise building in one of the most expensive cities in the world, with a view of the damn ocean. You can't even look. I lived over there. I understand this culture. I know what's there. The lobby where they came in and out, I'm talking about the big lobby, not when they would go out the back door by the pool, but the big lobby. That was not low-end housing. Low-end housing would never waste all of that precious space. They would just, so like what we would consider like the inner city or the projects, government housing. When you walk in, there's no entryway. You just immediately start apartments, right? Okay, it's exactly the same way over there. Each building has a number on it or a letter on it. And when you walk in, it automatically, the building start. You don't get high ceilings. You don't get architectural design. It's very utilitarian. It's put people there so they can live there and then they go to work. So the apartment they had, while it certainly wasn't, it wasn't luxury level, it was definitely middle class. And how does Salah go from when he walks out of his half room and literally the doorstep is dirt? It's just dirt. How does he go from living like that? He's a business owner, for God's sake, right? How does he go from that to now being able to purchase a high-rise building overlooking the sea with a beach in the front yard? One of the most expensive, most beautiful cities in the world. So all the way from the beginning, I'm highly suspect about these stories. And here's what I don't know. Like when it started, I knew there was something sinister. I just couldn't quite put my finger on what exactly was happening. And the thing I couldn't figure out was this. Is Chantal lying to us, or is Salah lying to Chantal and Chantal is just dumb and believes it? Well, we have sat, those of us that are watching this Foodie Beauty, I'm going to call it a tragedy. I think this is one of the scariest and saddest things I've ever witnessed online. Like, I am legitimately traumatized. As we listened to her first video once she arrived in Syria, as we listened to that video, he says they have the best healthcare in the world in Syria. And she says, "Oh, okay, really? Oh, okay. Oh." And I'm just thinking, this woman, now look, I was very vocal. I told her what he was doing. I told her who he was. I told her how they worked, how they did it. I told her who to contact in the Canadian government so that she would have an official person explain the process to her. she even came into my life several times and was very aggressive and very angry, that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about, which I do. So anyway, notice too, before I move on, notice the sweater that he's wearing. So the sweater becomes important. And the reason the sweater is important, there's some things I'm not going to be able to say that I'm not going to be able to talk about, but pay attention to the sweater. The sweater is, it's like military issue. And we see it pop up all the time. Okay. All right. Now then, so this was in the beginning, and I don't even think they had gone through this civil service thing where she was able to get a wedding certificate or a marriage certificate. And he kicks her. So she's just chattering. The thing she's talking about, it's not, she's not being offensive. She's not talking mean about Kuwait or the Middle East or the Muslim religion. She's not talking about, there's no haram topic. She's just kind of chattering, right? She's just, how she is. She just talk. She's happy. She's upbeat in this. And for some very strange reason, he kicks her. Like he kicks her in the shin or the leg or something. Well, in this picture right here where I've stopped it, you can see that she's looking at him through the camera. She averted her eyes to look at him, and she almost kind of looks like she's angry, like she's about to say something to him. And he throws his chin up as if to challenge her to say anything. So this is an incredibly sinister clip. And I really haven't seen anybody really discuss this at length. There are a lot of sinister clips as we go through the 3 years they were together. But I am without question convinced that she is in danger. Like I thought she was in danger when she went to Kuwait. I thought she was being manipulated and groomed. And sadly, unfortunately, now it looks like that is exactly what has happened. But I want to take a minute and kind of walk this particular clip back. See, she's still smiling in this part of the clip, but she looks at him a little strange, like, did you just kick me? Kind of weird. And look at his eyes. They're threatening. That tells me he has beaten her before. Like she knows now what a beating is. And so as she looks at him, he's giving her that. They're communicating through their looks. And he's saying, are you going to challenge me again? Are you sure you really want to do that? And then the next one is, you can see where she pulls back and he's got his chin up, his jaw kind of thrust out, like, really? You want more of what you got before? Now, watch him. This has gone back to the front before the kick happens. He seems to be in communication with someone on his phone. He went through this weird period of time where every time she went live, he was in the picture, sitting back behind her, but he was on the phone. And I think that most everybody thought that he was like reading the side chat, perhaps. And I think there was some indication that he was. I think there were people. I think he would say things, repeat things maybe that people in chat were saying. But it's very clear he's communicating with someone probably through text, because you can see him right before he acts. You can see the sadistic smile start. So I looked at that for a while and I thought, well, maybe he's got another wife. Maybe there's a first wife and they have set Chantal up in order to get their hands on her YouTube money, perhaps. Now I'm thinking it was something far more sinister. But just take a little watch and you'll see him begin to smile before he kicks her.
In Kuwait's golden sands, there.
So the smiling is starting. She's completely unaware. She's just chattering away, just, feeling happy, I guess. But watch him. He's smiling. He's anticipating the kick.
Love took its toll.
Watch.
A marriage of
He's
food.
reading. Now,
For
right there. This is a dangerous man right here.
a marriage of food.
It's a dangerous guy. Does this look like love? Does this impress anybody as being a loving gesture? Or does this look like a man who is dominating someone, grooming someone, manipulating them to accept their place as a secondary citizen, someone with no rights? Now, admittedly, and this was quite curious to me, at some point in this process, and I believe that it happened after the fetish stuff was exposed, okay? At some point in this, it all changed. Salah changed. Up until the fetish reveal, Salah was always well groomed. His beard was always really, really well trimmed. His hair was always well coiffed, right? He was always looking good. He was put together. He's ready to go out there. I think it's because he was representing something bigger than himself. Most notably, the Syrian Freedom Party. And I say it that way because it's really hard to pin down at any given historical time. It's really hard to pin down exactly who the enemy is. It varies dramatically within the Islamist backed groups, but then they're all against the minorities, the Christians and the Kurds, and it's way too much to go into. Not even going to go there because that doesn't really matter. But if you are Islamic and you are hands down, everyone is against Assad. The people that were supporting Assad was Russia, Iran, and so if you did not like, if you were Islamist, you did not like Assad at all. You wanted him totally gone. And the reason I'm having trouble to name like the Islamists that were involved is because there were so many, there was so much interfaction warfare happening there in Syria. There is, even today, there is Al-Qaeda, there's ISIS, ISIL, yes, backed by Barack Obama's government. There's HTS. They were originally Al-Qaeda. And the guy who is now president of Syria, he was once really good friends with Baghdadi, Abu Baghdadi in Iraq. And they had a big, huge fight, big, huge falling out. And so he left Al-Qaeda and he formed the HTS, a new Islamist anti-Assad group. So it's not just it's not just this fight against Assad and his secular country, his secular government. It is all the Islamist factions that are fighting one another. It is a damn disaster. Like Syria, historically, this one area is the biggest wartime disaster imaginable. It's unbelievable. So, and we do still, the United States, we do still have we do still have special forces on the ground. It is Yes. We have special forces on the ground in Syria today. And in truth, we kind of backed the man who is president of Syria today, even though he's Al Qaeda. You can't make this up, but it's absolutely factual what I'm telling you. So, so it's a disaster of the highest order. If as a Syrian, and this is important because this tells you, this will let you in on Salah's frame of mind. If you are Syrian, if you were given asylum, refugee status in another country, as his father, as his family was in Kuwait, and look, there's like something like 6 million Syrians that were given safety in Lebanon. There's some in Egypt. They're all over the place. So for their family, they were given safety in Kuwait. His father is well educated and had a special skill that would be helpful to Kuwait's culture, society. And so they were given a very, very handsome entry. And he would have received a residence card. I think that's what they call it, a residence card. So they would have received a residence card. They have a Syrian passport. They would have been provided a residency card saying, although this person is Syrian, they fled. The Kuwaiti government determined that they were not a dangerous family and that they did not have any ties to terrorism. And so we will sponsor their family here in Kuwait. So we can do that. Now, the reason that residency card becomes instrumental and important in the story is this. With the residency card, you can travel. Now, if you only have a Syrian passport and you have no residency card, no country is going to allow you to come in. They have no idea if you have been fighting with Al Qaeda. They don't know if you've been fighting with HTS. They don't know if you've been fighting some obscure Iranian group that's come in, or if you have been fighting as an Israeli posing as a Syrian. They don't even want to give it they don't even take the chance. They're scared to death of you, right? So what I think might have happened, it's only my guess, I don't know this. I think what might have happened is that as the Kuwaiti laws changed and Kuwait wanted the immigrants to leave and go home, especially those from Syria. They certainly did not want anyone from Syria or like Gaza, the Gaza Strip, Palestine. They didn't want any of those people anymore in Kuwait. And so they began finding reasons to kick these people out, right? So you had to really be on your very, very, very best behavior. And I want to think that new law was done like in maybe it was March this year. I could be wrong about that. I can, it's on the internet. You can find it there. But Kuwait did come up with a new law. They were able to start getting rid of some of the not refugees, but immigrants that they had sponsored during the war. And they were looking for reasons to get rid of them and send them back. I wondered if Salah was one of them. I wondered if Salah, because of his age, because of the fact that he wasn't working, I just wondered if maybe he had gotten mixed up with maybe a group of people that the Kuwaiti government didn't feel very comfortable with. And maybe it made them very nervous that Foodie was flying back and forth to all these various countries when previously she never left Canada. That would definitely make her look like an ISIL bride. It would definitely raised suspicions about fundraising for terrorist linked groups. So I kind of thought that trip to Thailand, when they were shocked because he couldn't fly, I believe this happened. They got to the airport and they said, buddy, you ain't getting on no airplane. You got to turn around and go home. If you leave, you're never allowed back into Kuwait. And Foodie was like, oh my God, we can't have that. Just stay here. Don't run the risk of, losing your residency. I'll go to Thailand by myself, do my 30 days, and then I'll be back. I think that may have been what happened, because if you remember, during that time period, she was talking about, that they were waiting on this information, or they were waiting on that information, that contact. I think they were working with lawyers trying to determine what was happening with Salah, that his right to travel on his residency card had been denied. So bringing all that front and center today, and how that affects what's happening, is this. Salah, if they ejected him from the country after the charges were filed by Pause, they already had suspicions with him. The odd travel patterns that Foodie was engaging in, when previously she had never done that, and then she gets messed up with him, and now she's moving all over the world. That is very suspicious for fundraising. And I'm not saying she was doing that. I'm saying that is a pattern that they look for, and she was doing it, right? So she may have been completely innocent doing just what she said she was doing. But if you're a person that's in charge of the safety of your nation, you're going to look at that and go, uh-oh, what's happening? This is kind of scary. So I think that he was already under the microscope in Kuwait. And then when Pause, when they filed the charges, and then the charges were escalated to the criminal courts, I think at that point he saw the writing on the wall, and he knew, I've got two choices here. Go to a Kuwaiti jail. In my opinion, that would have been my choice. My choice would have been, write it out, see what you can do. If they give you 2 years in a Kuwaiti prison, take it happily. Kuwait's a modern country. It's not like Syria. How about that? It's not even like Lebanon. It's a good country. There's good people. Nearly all Kuwaitis are well educated. Yeah, he'd have been a lot better off in a Kuwaiti prison for 2 to 5 years, and then be free and still be able to be in Kuwait and, find a job or whatever. That would have been desirable over Syria. That is the absolute one place on this planet you don't want to be, other than, let's say, the Congo. Okay. Congo's a pretty rough place. So I kind of think he took the choice. I think he said, they're coming for me. I can't go to prison, and I'm just going to, the war is over. December 2024, Assad fell. Trump was talking about lifting sanctions, which have now been lifted. And I think he just decided there was more hope by going back to his homeland. And if his dad has property, if he has a house on some land, I don't know if he has a house on land. I don't know if he has an apartment building, because you can buy apartments there just like you would an individual house. You don't really know, but here's what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, 100% fact. He is from Daraa, and it has been bombed to kingdom come. And the reason that it has been bombed is because it is a hotbed of terrorist activity. So when I saw them on the M5, the highway that connects from Damascus to Jordan, when I saw them on that highway that no one ever really travels on, you can see that there's really not very many vehicles other than like work vehicles. And they pass like a military convoy, which is horrifying. So I thought, if he is just comfortable and free to travel down in that area of the country, that is absolutely ISIS controlled territory. That is ISIS controlled territory, or ISIL, the Levant. It's ISIL controlled, and it has Al Qaeda protected passage, so that you can leave from that area and you can go up without going through Damascus. You can leave and you can go all the way up to Aleppo. I mean, it's crazy that he's able to drive in that area and move about freely. It's crazy. Now, if they had left Damascus and had gone up toward Aleppo, it would have been like nothing. So what? Or going toward Lebanon. So what? Not really that big of a deal. What? You're on the highway of death. Literally the highway of death. Headed straight into ISIS-controlled territory, Al-Qaeda controlled territory. What the hell? You're able to move around? Why? Why are you able to move around there, Salah? Why are you able to move there, buddy? Who the hell are you? Because the only way you're moving around there is if you're supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Something so curious about this. And I am not saying that he's one thing or another. I'm just saying what I'm telling you is fact. So someone explain to me how it's possible that he can do this. I wouldn't be able to do that. In fact, this last there was 24 hour. Okay, I got to break this down so that you get. Okay, so between July the 3rd at about 10 or 11 a.m. to July the 4th at about 10 or 11 a.m., there were 12 people killed in a 24-hour period. 12 people. But listen to this. The 24 hours before that, meaning July the 2nd, mid-morning, to July the 3rd, mid-morning, there were 19 people killed in 24 hours. What? Did they die of car crashes? No, they didn't. They died from explosions, assassinations, or just your general mysterious circumstances. In Idlib, for example, 10 people were killed and 9 others injured after there was an explosion of a workshop. Someone's workshop. That sounds like somebody was making bombs, in my opinion. This area, there was an area where there was like munitions, ordnance, a big warehouse filled with ordnance. It exploded, probably by Israeli bombs, but it was the Uzbeks and Turkestanis that owned that area. And they were working with the HTS, Syrian Transitional Government. There was also a big building that was targeted in Kahria that exploded. In the eastern countryside, there was a young man who was shot in a family dispute over a piece of land. The kid says, "This is my family's land. This belongs to me." And the terrorist bastard said, "No, it doesn't. You're wrong. It belongs to me. And since there is no law in Syria, bang, bang." How often do you think that happens in Syria now? People trying to return home to their property and say, this is my land. Here's the proof that it is my land. And somebody shoots them and says, no, no, it's my land. I don't know what you're talking about. Goodbye. Go away. How often do you think that happens? I would be willing to bet often. There is no law. There are no police officers. There is no one. And Foodie Beauty says, oh, it's so great. There's no law. Nobody's going to get in trouble. Those people are there to protect you, Chantal. Without a legal system, sure, maybe you can run around as a criminal and not worry about getting arrested, but they're there to keep you safe. And you went on and on talking about, oh, the food, the travel people online, the travel influencers, they're all going into Syria to report. Well, you might want to go back and rewatch those, because not only do they have professional guides, those guides are actually licensed by the government in Syria. It's their job to meet these professional vloggers or television crews. They meet them at the border. They sign them in for 24 hours or whatever it happens to be. Most of them don't even stay overnight. Most of them go back to Beirut to spend the night. And they have a licensed government guide, and they have armed guards with them. And these travel vloggers should be required to show that they are traveling with armed guards. They should be required to show that, so you don't get bubble heads like Foodie Beauty going, oh, it's perfectly safe. Look at the TikTokers. They're everywhere. I'm very, very, very scared about what she's gotten herself into. In the desert south of Deir es-Zor, a young man from Raqqa countryside was killed by a landmine. A young woman died from injuries after she just caught stray gunfire in Aleppo. This was July the 3rd, y'all. The town of Maja in north rural Daraa, which is where they traveled to. That's where his house is. There was a young man killed after an unidentified gunman stormed his home and opened fire on him after midnight. The Syrian Observatory reported an Iraqi jihadist was killed after being directly shot by unidentified gunmen on a motorcycle. This is where they're at, or at least that's where they were headed to. And I can show you, here's a picture. This is Daraa. Hold on. How's that look like? What do you think? Hey, I'm just going to be roughing it a little bit. It's going to be really good for my weight loss efforts. It'll be so healthy now that I'm not eating fast food anymore. I'll be with my handsomest man. I'll have my love beside me. Oh. And it's so cute the way they put gasoline, petrol in your car. The petrol is just in plastic bottles and they siphon it into your car. So we're not too worried about not having air conditioning in our apartment. When we get too hot, we'll just go get in the car and ride around. And Salah says, oh, it's very, very good. No problem. Mushkila. We have the best health care in Syria, in all the world. And we have We have solar energy, Chantal, in our apartment. So even though government electricity may go down, we have solar that will immediately kick on. It's okay. Lies. He told her blatant lies while the camera was rolling. He had zero fear of telling her enormous lies. She believed him. She believed him. Now, I have a little bit of a different take on the whole travel to going down the M5. We're going somewhere. Remember how she kept saying that? We're going somewhere. I wonder if she got scared. I wonder if it finally occurred to her she might be in danger. And so she went live to try at least to let people, her family, the Canadian government, someone, to realize her last location, right? Because if you listen closely in that little 11-minute clip, you know, right before they started jamming the signal and got disconnected, Salah is really detached. Like the tone in his voice is very different. He is not there with her. She sounds to me drugged. She doesn't sound like the normal Chantal. She doesn't even sound like gummy high Chantal. There's something off about the way she sounds. Could it be fear? Could it be she was drugged? Maybe she's just a bubblehead. All right. So isn't that terrifying? If you find that terrifying, put a 1 because it scares me to death. Like really scares me. Another thing that scares me was this picture. Hold on. She is a bubblehead. Yes, she is. Okay. This. So I know that there are people like on Twitter, all over the place, that are checking this image. Nobody believes that Chantal posted this. They don't believe that it's really her. They think it's a stock photo. And the message is, an amazing traditional Syrian breakfast I had. Bottom left corner, labna in olive oil. Top left corner, olive oil, fresh from the olive trees here in Za'atar. Middle dish, fata, spiced chickpeas, yogurt, pita bread, and tahini. And it was so good. Okay. You are the most foolish creature on the planet if this is in fact something that you did. And look at the comments. Well, so chickens by the lake is the kind of person that, you know, is going to get Chantal killed by, oh my God, you're so awesome, Chantal. You don't let them tell you no. You go, girl. She says, I bet it's delicious, but I would starve. Okay, you're chickens by the lake. I hate to tell you this. Chantal's got a lot worse problems than starving. That's the least of her problems right now. Tina says, is this a stock picture? I've never seen you set up a table. Never seen you set up a table and never seen her post something like that. Most of the stuff that she posts in her community tabs is usually her raging at someone. Looks lovely. Is this restaurant food? I got a case of the giggles because if it's home food, it's more dishes in one photo than you've owned in the last 4 homes. Kimchi, I think you're being facetious, and you know full well she didn't post that. Somebody else said, do you need any paper clips? How much longer till we can see you live? We miss seeing you. You're not going to see her live, Kelly Spivey, unless I am 100% wrong. If you continue to eat predominantly like this, it'll only take your body 2 to 3 weeks to adjust to lower sugar and salt, both addictive processed additives. Again, do you think this is the biggest problem that this woman has at this point? Wonderful breakfast. It all looks so good. Oh, it's so yummy. This looks delicious. I love chickpeas, and they're high in protein. You get my point. How utterly uninformed. Yeah, I just looked, Martian. Sorry about that. How utterly uninformed this group of people are. Like, it is terrifying that these are the people that are talking to her and set her up to do this foolish thing. The other thing that I've changed my mind on in hindsight, I was wondering, how could her mother allow her to do this? Like, I'm going to tell you straight up. Now, my daughter would not do this because she's got a lot of love for life and she's got a high, taste for self-preservation. You know what I mean? But let's just say that Chantal were my daughter. I would have body slammed her and called 911 that there was an insane person in my house and come arrest her immediately. I would have made sure that she was under the jailhouse. And then I would have made sure that her bank accounts were wiped out. She had no way to get on an airplane. Anything would have been desirable over this woman ending up in Syria with this specific man. Anything. But there's the comments that I told you. I mean, these people, oh, it looks so good. Wonderful breakfast. Yum, yums. So yummy. You're so lucky. You're so lucky, Chantal. Bon appetit. Like, oh, who are these people? And do they care anything about this woman? Now I got something else to share with you. Hold on. Just a minute. Hold, please. I'll get to it. Is this it? I think this is it. Yep. Okay, let me make sure y'all can see it. Share. This is a young woman. Yeah, I don't think her mom knew that she was going to Syria. Here's the reason why I've double checked that, why I've changed my mind on it. I don't think that her mom knew she was going to Syria because she was doing lives for like 2 days or maybe 3 days saying that she was going on a road trip. And people were going, well, where is she going to go on a road trip? Is she going to go across Canada? Is she going to go down into the United States? At one point, she said, maybe I'll road trip to Texas. And I thought, well, maybe he flew to Mexico and she's going to meet him down there. But on hindsight now, I'm thinking about it. No, I think she told them that she was doing a road trip for her YouTube channel to make content, to make money. I think that's how she got out without her mom intervening. All right. And they may have given her money to do it, right? Okay, so you guys can now see this. This is a young woman living in Syria. What you're about to listen to is a young woman living in Syria. Let's hear what she has to say about all that delicious, yummy food. You're so lucky, Chantal. Let's listen.
I have never understood why some people get to live their lives without suffering from anything. Why some countries don't have to worry about the electricity, the water, the bread, transport. I have never understood why half of the world lives in 2025 and the other half lives in 1920. As a Syrian, or I think as a Middle Eastern, let's say, because not only Syrians suffer from this, there's Palestine, there's Lebanon, there's a lot of areas and a lot of regions in the Middle East suffered from the same exact thing. If you ask a Syrian right now, all they think about is how they're going to shower because there's no water or electricity. How will they build a future in a country that are not guaranteed to live another day? A typical day of a Syrian is thinking about electricity, thinking about water, thinking about transport, thinking about bread, thinking about how are they going to afford to have food on the table, to feed their family and kids. And you have the other side of the world where people think about their future and they think about how they're going to build an empire and just like be better for themselves in the future. And I just never understand why. Why is that? Just because they're Syrian, just because they were born in Syria, just because they don't have another passport, just because I don't know. I
Because of
truly
the
cannot
terrorism,
understand.
honey.
Is it too much to ask for safety? Is it too much to ask for a normal human life?
What do you guys think? Do you think Chantal's just living an exciting, exotic life? Or do you think that someone is lying to us about the current state that Chantal is actually in? Because I don't believe for a minute that she posted that food picture. Not a minute.
I have never understood why some people get to live their lives without suffering from anything, why some countries don't have to worry about the electricity, the water, the bread, transport. I have never understood why half of the world lives in 2025 and the other half lives in 1920. As a Syrian, or I think as a Middle Eastern, let's say, because not only Syrians suffer from this, there's Palestine, there's Lebanon, there's a lot of areas and a lot of regions in the Middle East suffered from the same exact thing. If you ask a Syrian right now, all they think about is how they're going to shower because there's no water or electricity.
Okay, so question, is this young woman just lying? Or is she saying exactly what Chantal was saying, as then Salah began saying, no, 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 it's okay. We have great internet connection. We have so much internet. And she says, will it be enough for me to live stream? And he says, oh, yes, very, very much. Very, very much. It's very cheap. And we have the best health care. Syria has the best healthcare of all. You want to know why Syria has no healthcare? I'll tell you why. Because doctors are in high demand. Their training makes them quite unique, and there's not very many doctors in the world compared to the total number of the population, the people that need their services, right? So, why would an organization allow their doctors to go to a place that will absolutely kidnap them and force them to be with their part of the militia, their part of the army? Why? There are no doctors unless they are government sanctioned doctors and they're in Damascus and maybe some in Aleppo. Doctors that are part of the military. You're not doing Doctors Without Borders in Syria. They're getting kidnapped left and right. You can't even keep them there. And if you can keep your doctor safe, you damn sure can't keep the medication safe. There is no food. They're using sand as kitty litter. It just trying to live without running water is a health problem, right? So in a paper that was written in, I believe it was May of this year, in a paper that was, let me give y'all something to look at while I talk about this. This will be something good to look at. All right. Okay, so in May, just a couple of months, weeks ago, there was a white paper that was put out, and I'll just kind of read it to you. It's by Refugees International. Syria's transition has reached a moment of great fragility. The jubilation of Assad's overthrow is tangible, but the hard realities of the road ahead are now sharply in focus. The country's ongoing humanitarian and displacement crisis continues to affect millions of Syrians. Large segments of the population remain abroad or subsist in internal displacement camps. Tents, guys. The communities from which they fled remain devastated with few, if really any, services. For over a decade, the United States provided the bulk of the foreign assistance that served as a lifeline to millions of Syrians and helped to stabilize communities across the country. Now, the Trump administration has cut that lifeline while keeping in place a punishing sanctions regime. However, those sanctions have been lifted, I believe, last Monday, maybe, or 2 Fridays ago, maybe. Together, the policies threaten to upend Syria's transition. Now, I found this to be particularly prosaic because Chantal is always talking about how she hates the United States. She hates Trump because they're, terrible people and they don't help and they don't do anything. And yet, without it even knowing it, she was about to walk into exactly what she predicted. The U.S. sanctions have been in place for years, decades in Syria, decades. Trump, a couple of weeks ago, lifted the sanctions. He also ended the U.S. aid money, which $237 million of U.S. aid was being funneled into Syria. Okay. But at the same time that they cut the U.S. aid, they lifted U.S. sanctions. And you know what that means? It means that they opened up for any business person in the United States, any U.S. bank, to go into Syria and begin fixing things and cleaning things up and building companies. And yet she sat around complaining and talk about how horrible he was. He was such an awful, horrible person. But will she now have direct benefit of that? Maybe that will even save their lives. Because I think that if Salah had access to a job, currently the only jobs that are available to young or middle-aged men are in the militia, or even worse, with the terrorist groups. That's really the only way to protect yourself. So is that how he's making money? He doesn't look like it to me. His beard is overgrown. It's real scraggly. He doesn't look like he's had a shower since he's been there. He looks like a crazy man. So I don't think he's formed up with any of those people. I don't think he's joined up with any of those people. And I think when he realized there's no work, there's nothing, there's literally no one that will hire me for anything, nothing. The only choice he had for survival, because he can't leave. He doesn't have his residency card anymore. So the only chance of living, I'm talking about just to be alive, was Chantal's YouTube money. That's the only way he lives. Do you think it's loving to be in this situation and to have the love of your life come over and join you? You know, when we were in Egypt, I loved sightseeing. Like I had the greatest time going around and, looking at these places of worship. And I mean, it was just incredible experience. When the Arab Spring began to rumble, when they had a couple of elections that went real bad and the people were unhappy, and my husband I had a driver in a car when I was over there, and my husband told my driver, under no circumstances do you take her anywhere near the Kanakawili. Anywhere. No, I mean, nowhere. You keep her outside of Cairo proper. I don't care where she goes. She wants to go to the Marriott and spend all day at the water park. If she wants to go shopping at the big mall, that's fine. I don't care. Do not take her down to Islamic Cairo under any circumstances. And that's actually where I loved spending my day, was Islamic Cairo. And I got really mad at him. I'm a very independent person, and we don't do that whole men or God. That doesn't happen in our house. We're even partners, friends. And so I was furious with him when he did this. I said, you don't have any right to control me that way. He said, I have every right to control you. He said, if I believe that someone may kill you. So you are not going to go down there because it is dangerous. If our company security is telling us to avoid Islamic Cairo, that includes my wife. And he said, you're not going, period. So I was furious. I was angry with him. It caused upheaval between the two of us. But was it an act of love? It was an act of love, wasn't it? It was an act of love that didn't say, I want to rob you of your freedom. It was, I cannot tolerate the idea that my wife would be harmed. I can't do this. So the fact that this man finds himself in Syria, and remember the kind of apartment he was living in before Chantal got there with her money in the first go around when she first went to Kuwait. Suddenly they go from this little closet with a dirt stoop to now they're in a beautiful seaside apartment that's got a big open glass entryways, very impressive, definitely middle class, upper middle class type housing. Who do you think paid for that? Who do you think paid for it? And just like this, he's like, oh, look, we have electricity. We have solar electricity. I don't think he's been living in that apartment where she went live that first day she was there. He acted like he had just gotten there because he was reading the information about like how much internet they had. Remember? Hey, Team Psych Ward. That is so great to see you. Thank you for being here. Yay. Everybody welcome Team Psych Ward. That's awesome. We need a psych ward. Let me tell you, Chantal has freaked me out. I am so disturbed by what has happened. So, he has hit her. Oh, he's definitely hit her. She went live with sunglasses on, and you could see through the sunglasses and see the big black eye. No, he's definitely done it. She spent too much money on that cat, and she won't have that money to make another cat into her service animal. I think what happened, he realized the situation that he was in once he got to Syria. And I think that when he saw her get that apartment, and then there was the cat, I'm talking about Smokey, I think he realized he was about to lose his meal ticket. I think the only reason this man took Julia was because that was bait. Julia was bait for Chantal to come to Syria. He knew that. He didn't do that out of the goodness of his heart. He recognized, I got to get her back. Like right now, we have no choice. She has to go to Canada. I have to go to Syria because there's no other place for either one of us to go. But I've got to be sure to be able to get her back with me. And my best hope for that is going to be the cat. So make no mistake about that. I don't believe for a minute that he's just so in love with the cat. So I think when he saw that Chantal she got the apartment, then she got the air conditioner because she couldn't stand the Canadian heat. Excuse me? Julia is another cat, St. Elmo's Fire. Julia is the cat that they had in Kuwait. If she is getting her YouTube income garnished monthly to pay back her Canadian debt. Frasier, I just don't know the answer to that. I don't have any idea. What I do know is this, and I did call yesterday or day before yesterday and ask some specific questions. So there remains confusion about the YouTube income. Where do I want to start? Okay, so if you're Syrian, by the way, Chantal can only stay in Syria 14 days. She can only stay there 2 weeks. If she plans on staying longer as the spouse of Salah, then she loses the ability to go back into Lebanon. Let me how do I say this differently? If she registers with the so-called government, the way that the Lebanese rules are, or the Jordanian rules, the way those rules are is they do not accept Syrian citizens into the country unless they have a residence card, like they're being sponsored by another country. They've been living in another country, which took a lot of background checks. It was a really, really hard for Salah's dad to get a residence card in Kuwait. But he was well educated. He had a lot of skills that he could bring to the community. He was an asset in Kuwait. So he and his family were granted this coveted status in Kuwait. Now, if she doesn't go and register with the government, if she does not do that, then she should be able to re-enter Lebanon just like she came in. She should be able to re-enter, get on an airplane and go home. So let's all pray that Chantal does not register as Salah's wife. Like, we have to pray that. Otherwise, it really is over. Like, it is completely over. So that's number one. That's the most critical thing. Chantal, you must not officially register with this government that you are his wife. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. In fact, if I were you, I would kiss him goodbye. I would grab Julia and I would head across that Lebanese border with the cat. I've told you, Chantal, I will pay for that cat to get to Canada. You can send that cat to me. I don't care. But the cat is not acclimated to survive that Syrian apartment that you guys are leaving it in. But you've got to get back across the border before they figure out who you are. You've got to get back across the border and back into Lebanon if you ever hope to have freedom ever again. Now then, there's confusion about payment on YouTube. So Syrian citizens, they cannot have a YouTube account. Well, they can have a YouTube account, but they can't get AdSense money, right? They cannot be a monetized channel. She is not a citizen of Syria right now, but if she registers as his wife, she will forever be a Syrian slave. So if she doesn't sign as I am his wife, she'll be able to get back across the border into Lebanon and come home. As it stands now, she can go live in Syria if they don't catch her. I mean, I don't know what the rules are by this government. Assad's government would have put her in jail for streaming. I don't know about this government. I just don't know the answer to that. But if she were to go live and get some screen time, then she absolutely will still make her YouTube money. So she will continue to make her YouTube money. It will go into whatever account she had it already set up as. And then here was the tough part. The ATMs are really unpredictable, just like the electricity and everything else. So the ATMs are not really a good choice. Going into the bank to collect your money is also not a good choice because there's just not very much money, other than Syrian bills. There's just not really much money. So it's very hard to get the money. It will not automatically go into a Syrian bank account. That can't happen. The only way that Chantal will be able to access her YouTube money will be if her mother, Shmi, gets the money and wires it to a Syrian bank. Or they also have a Western Union there. Shmi, for God's sake, whatever you do not send this woman any money. Do not enable her or Salah to stay here. You can't do that. But what you can do is you can absolutely get a plane ticket and have the plane ticket bought and paid for. It will be there at the airport waiting for Chantal, and a plane ticket for Juice, the cat. And she can go to the airport and get her plane ticket and get on a damn airplane. So, Shmi, for God's sake, do not enable her to stay in this godforsaken country. If his home was in Aleppo, if his home was in Damascus, no problem. I wouldn't even be wasting my time even making a discussion about this. But the very fact that it's in Daraa is crazy. This is crazy. You just can't don't do it, Shmi. She's got to get out of there. All right. Okay. I doubt her stepfather will let her mother send money. You just can't. It's just crazy. If the stepdad, if the grandfather of Chantal, you can hire. Now, trust me, would I do this? Hell yeah. Hands down. I'd be on the phone. I'd be like, make it happen. Here's your cash. Go get her. I don't know if they really understand how to even find those people, but there are people, contractors, individual contractors. These are people that were in theater, they're familiar, they speak the language, they can pass as a Syrian man. There are people that you can pay them and they will go into these countries like Syria or Iran, and they will find your loved one and they will try to get them out illegally. They'll try to get them out, get them into the nearest US, or in this case, Canadian embassy. And then you go through the motions of the legal paperwork to get you back onto Canadian or US soil. It is absolutely done. no doubt it can be done. I don't, maybe they wouldn't know really how to find those kind of people that do it. But at this point, her only hope, I think, in my opinion, the only hope is she's just got to get Julia and just get out and go back to Lebanon now, before the 14 days is up, period. Now, Anita is saying she has not been radicalized. She was always a racist and an anti-Semite. She takes on the ideals of whatever man. Oh, yeah. Yes, Anita. Thank you for saying that. She takes on the ideals of whatever man she is with. If she fell in love with an Israeli, she would be chanting, holding up signs for that. 100%. Yes, Anita. Thank you for saying that. Absolutely true. Which is, don't you think that's what the radical jihadists are looking for when they're looking for their ISIL brides? They are looking for women that have low ego strength, right? They're looking for women that don't really have much of an identity. They don't have a solid grip on who they are. Their values are skewed. They are bitten hard by the Disney delusion, the Disney bug that says, once I have a man, then I matter. Once I am accepted by a man, then I've got a stamp of approval on me that says I'm a worthwhile, lovable human being. They have absolutely no awareness that you are the only one that gets to put a stamp of approval on yourself. No man gets to tell you that you're a worthy or lovable person. You are perfect exactly as you are. You have to love yourself first before you give anyone the blessing of allowing them to love you. Because otherwise this happens, where you're so hungry for affiliation and recognition. You're so hungry for that coveted sense of identity. Oh, look, someone loves her. I'm so jealous of that woman. Someone married her. Look how lucky she is. She has a man that loves her. Some people, some women get so confused about this whole process and utility of falling in love and having a partner that it actually becomes the knife in their back. They end up with a man who does not prioritize them, does not put them up on a pedestal, and would not order your driver to stay away from Islamic Cairo, no matter how angry you get. We have to love ourselves. We have to value ourselves. We have to know who we are so that we don't fall prey to nonsense like, my handsomest man needs me. I've got to get my money from the bank and make this flight over there and go in the middle of the night over the border. I've got to do this for my handsomest man and my juice, my child. No, it's not your child. It's a cat. That's all. And he took the cat as bait so he could manipulate you. And now you are reaping the rewards of allowing yourself to identify with a man who very likely has terrorist links. And I remember making a video telling Chantal exactly who to contact, how to do it, to reach out to the Canadian government, give the Canadian government his information, and find out if he was in fact linked to any of the terrorist organizations in Syria. I told her to do it. Do you think she did? I bet not, because she doesn't even know that if she stays there to day 15, she'll never be allowed back into Lebanon. I mean, this is a real terrifying situation. So, and I'm about to show you something that even just kind of drives it all home. So let me look. So why would a woman do this? Well, there's a lot of reasons. It's likely a complicated mix of emotional, psychological, and social factors. This is not a situation where she met him in a normal way and fell in love with him in a long courtship, and now they've had a 20-year marriage together. That is not what this is all. This is like a glorified sacrifice to the delusion of love. I mean, that's the best way to characterize this. She didn't know this guy. She had just been with an Egyptian that had done the most horrific abusive things to her, manipulated her, and she didn't seem to have any notion of self-preservation, and the relationship would matter. But somehow she ends up with Salah, and he shows so much interest in her. And most people are going, I would definitely say that a man who looks like Salah, he's much younger than her. Why is he with her? Right. And it's not just the weight, because there's plenty of men that, find women that are a little bit heavy to be beautiful. I'm not saying that. But I'm talking about her obnoxious, outrageous actions. The Islamic, in Sharia law and the Islamic culture, and I'm not just talking about Muslim, but specifically the Islamist, women they really hold very little value. They're easily replaced. And so the value of a woman is childbirth for sure. But as sort of a reflection of the quality of the man. So if you are a very intelligent, well-educated, wealthy, powerful guy, the wife is judged as being particularly beautiful and demure, quiet, very controlled. None of the foolish female emotion that they associate with women. They hate for women to cry and get upset or get jealous. They think it's weakness, right? They'll tell you, even today, the most well-educated of these men will tell you that women should never, ever hold political office because they're too emotional. Their hormones make them too emotional. They get crazy and they can't do that. So for accomplished men, they mold their wives, they groom them to be very beautiful, seen and not heard, to be fully compliant to the whims of the husband. That is how they are molded. And the women who are in this lifestyle, the women see that as a mark of value, that if you are in fact a very self-composed, but when you're asked to speak, you can speak as a very educated woman, but then again, you do whatever your husband asks you to do. All of those things reflect that you are a quality Muslima, and you are a direct reflection on just what a great man your husband is. Now, when you look at Chantal, you're thinking, if you know this culture, if you've been, if you're aware of how this culture is balanced, you look at Chantal and you go, what is happening here? Because this woman in no way reflects what an Islamist bride would be. In no way. There's nothing about her other than she can make money on YouTube, which is very, very interesting to me, because there is a lot of fundraising that happens on YouTube. Now, they've tried to cut down a lot of that. It still gets through, right? So it's so strange that this man kept her, even bringing her to Kuwait and living with her and seeing all of the weird bodily noises, the very, very loud laugh, the cussing. Oh my gosh. In terms of the Islamic culture, that is haram. The things that she says, it's really terrible. I mean, really, I think she completely ruined his life, if you want to know the truth. I think before she got there, you can look at him, the way he's groomed, the way that he dresses, the way that he the composure that he has on the camera. I I really think that he was a part of something that he was proud of, and I'm not going to accuse him, but I think he was very proud of those associations. He seemed to have plenty of money coming from somewhere, even though he didn't have any skills, he can't work. Where did his money come from? She came, and then there was that nightmare debacle of the fetish reveal. And after that, what happened to Salah? His grooming, a mess. He completely abandoned being on camera with Chantal. And even when he would be on camera, he'd have his hoodie up over his face. And I thought, yes, this is a man who's hiding. But from whom does he hide? Why does he need to hide? Who is it he's hiding from? So at this point now, he ends up in Syria. And I'm thinking, okay, now we know who he was hiding from. So is that what has happened here? Is that why she is in Syria? Was there a deal made to bring her over? Was there money exchanged? Has he made money? Or was it something as base as he's just furious that his life has been destroyed by her antics, by her lack of self-control, that he just wanted to hurt her? He just wanted to make sure that it wasn't just going to be him living in exile in hell, that she too, if he had to be in exile, she would be there as well. And as long as Shmi sends the money, then he'll keep it going. But then when the money stops, that could be the end of it, if you know what I mean. So I think this, this terrible dance that they've done has led them to this point. And you say, well, this doesn't feel like love. There's something wrong in what he's done by bringing her over. 1 in 4 women will actually, experience emotional dependence and intimate partner violence. But have we ever are there any stories of women who seem to throw caution to the wind and say, oh, I'm willing to put myself in abject danger also that I can be at the side of this man? And actually there are some. And the tale of Bonnie Parker, in the 1930s, Bonnie Parker met Clyde Barrow. And literally within weeks, I think it was a few weeks, she had joined up with Clyde and his gang and is now on the run with this abject criminal. And notice the circumstances in place were very similar. There was poverty. It was the 1930s, and you'd had the roaring 20s, and now the stock market crashed, businesses failed everywhere, and there was just simply no money. And so Clyde Barrow and his gang began robbing anything really. But the thing that they did is they were like Robin Hood. He would rob gas stations or banks or even just people traveling down the road. He would rob them, but then he'd turn around and he'd give some of the money back to the homeless people that were living in these shanty towns. And so when Clyde had to hide, who protected him? Yeah, all those people that were like, dude, you helped me out when I had nothing to eat. So come on into my tent. No one will ever think that you would be here. And Bonnie Parker was actually working, she had a really nice job for the time. She had a nice job. People talked about, if you read her, the people that researched her and wrote books about her and stuff, she had a real taste for the finer things in life. Her big weakness was perfume. She loved perfume. She loved candy. And so she had a big weakness for that, but she did stand around and read like these Hollywood like movie magazines about Marilyn Monroe, things like that. And so, here's Clyde Barrow during a time when they knew the only people that had money were criminals. They were the only ones that had any. And so he took a real liking to her, and she thought money, and she willingly hopped in the car with him, and off they went. And all of this shootouts and robberies and, friends that were bleeding in the back seat of the car, all of that served for strong, heavy trauma bonding. And she just became just so devoted and dedicated to him that it was almost like she wasn't even aware of the dangers that she was in. They wrote love letters and poems to one another that just seemed to completely ignore what the reality was of their life. And so you kind of think about Chantal and the way she was talking on that first live from the apartment. She's just telling you how wonderful and great life's going to be, and that being in Syria is perfectly safe, and that this is going to be a very healthy choice for her. There's no fast food. So she's not going to be eating fast food, and she's going to lose weight, and she's not going to need any medication. And life is going to be so great because she's with her handsomest man. I mean, it's just delusional. In a rather horrifying example, there was Carla Homolka, I think I'm saying that right, and Paul Bernardo. You remember these two creepazoids from where? Canada. A serial rapist and murderer. They killed Carla's little sister, for goodness sake, after they sexually assaulted her. Yeah, same thing. Carla, definitely not as attractive as Bernardo. However, let me say this. Weren't they called something like the Barbie and Ken, maybe something like they were Barbie doll killers or something along those lines, because they were both very beautiful people. But really, Paul Bernardo was like movie star handsome, right? There was a lot of drug use, and she basically gave her little sister to her boyfriend to drug and assault. The little girl died, and Carla just became obsessed with him, and he was a Jeffrey Dahmer, probably Ted Bundy type of guy. It was like having this beautiful movie star handsome guy by her side, living this excitement, this sexual excitement, that was far, far, far more important for her needs than safety. And she threw caution to the wind. It's an incredible story if you've not read it. Homolko, Homolko, and Paul Bernardo. It's crazy. It's an incredible story. Also, some people would put Rihanna or even Nicole Brown Simpson in this situation, in this list. I'm not sure. Nicole Brown Simpson definitely knew that O.J. Simpson was a batterer. She knew that, but being a part of something bigger than she, being with like the most famous man on the planet, she settled and it killed her in the end. So abuse dynamics it's really hard for regular people to understand why any woman would put herself in that situation. But for the people that are living it when they're in it, never underestimate the power of a delusion. And I wonder, does Foodie Beauty strike you as a person living a delusional reality? I would bet she's not delusional right now. I think reality has slammed her in the face a couple of times. But I think the process of loading up, getting to Syria, in some ways, I think she probably even turned it into a Disney movie. Look at me sneaking across the Lebanese border in the middle of the night. This is true love. This is the kind of things that they make movies out of. Yeah, they do. They called it Not Without My Child. So it makes me angry that people convince themselves that they don't have to be scared of Islam. It makes me really, and notice again, you don't ever hear me say Muslim, do you? Because Muslim is not the same thing as Islam. It is not the same thing. The Islamists, they are focused on world domination. The Islamists live by Sharia law. The Islamists are psychopathic killers. So there's a difference. I'm not saying Muslim. I got lots of Muslim friends that, I mean, when we were in Egypt for 10 years, these were our side-by-side ride or die friends. So that's different than an Islamist. And my fear, I believe that Chantal has been misled by Salah. I think she's in grave danger. All right, I got one more thing to show, and then, whoo, yeah, I've been talking 2 hours. That's why I'm tired. Hold on. I'm going to show you. There we go. This is the Facebook of Salah al-Rafai. And for those of you that have seen the military picture, the Syrian forces that were fighting in Iran, take a good look at this picture, and there is your Iranian guard Syrian soldier. That's him. So this is Salah's Facebook. And notice if you go down to the bottom of the page, he is from Daraa or Daraa, depends on how you're going to pronounce it. Lives in Qatan, Kuwait. This is him, y'all. So let's take a peek and see what we know. And this video is put out by Julie 2 years ago. 2 years ago. Here we go. Let me make sure you guys can see it before I start it. Ooh, see, aren't you glad I checked? Everybody put a 1 in the chat saying, thank you. Thank you for checking. Okay. Can you see now? Everybody should be able to see. They both misled each other. Her with her physical appearances promises to lose weight and to become an Islamic housewife. Totally agree. Yeah, it's been a like folie à deux, right? Shared, psychosis for sure. All right. Here we go. Let's try this again. So sorry, y'all. I wish I was a hot shot YouTuber, but I'm not. Ooh, couple sound. Let's go down. All right, so this is Arab Open University, and then it shows a high school. He graduated from high school in 2011. So that is that makes him 31. That's crazy, isn't it? I still cannot believe that he is from Daraa or Daraa. I can't believe it. Like, I cannot, of all the places in the whole of Syria, the worst place to be is this area. And even more important, my instincts were right in the beginning about him having connections to the freedom fighters. If he's able to come and go in this area, he's one of them, or he never would be able to have that freedom of movement. He totally tricked her. She's there, and I guarantee you she's in a locked room. Interested in men and women. That's not sexual. That means making friends. Men are for companionship. Women are for procreation. So in the Muslim world, women hang out, socialize with women. Men hang out, socialize with men. It's even very common to see two men walking down the road holding hands together. They lay in the grass together, laying in each other's lap. It is not a sexual activity. It's not a homosexual act. They're bonded together like brothers, and so they're very intimate with one another, not in a sexual way. Women are not, you don't hold their hand and walk around. You would never lay down in the grass with a woman. They're strictly utilitarian. It's just to have babies and to keep the house clean. That's all women are. It's really pitiful for Chantal, isn't it? The one thing that she craves above anything else in the world is to be loved by a man. That's the most important thing to her. And she actually chose someone who in no way can give her that, in no way. And, he's just using her for her money. So it's really tragic for this woman. She didn't deserve this. I know there's a lot of people that, are angry with her, and some people are really enjoying this situation she's in. I just find it terrifying, really terrifying. And I don't think she deserved this. She's been horrible. She's been horrible to animals. She's been horrible to people. But nobody should ever be doomed to this. This is about as bad as it gets. Let's see. He's Sunni. Oh, look. My Kung Fu master is Bruce Lee, the legend. He named the little cat Bruce Lee, remember? And look at there. Allah, Syria, freedom. Who said he was a freedom fighter? Who said it? I did. I said it. I called it. I took incoming fire. You're so horrible. You're so dumb. How dare you say that about him? Huh. Someone was right. Oh, look how much he loves Daraa. Look at him. Oh, he just wants to go home. He loves his home so much. Well, you got it. No one can judge me, as he says. Man, this is a disgusting asshole right here, y'all. These are the people that he is followed by. Aisha Abadi. Oh, that's the girl that basically told on them in Kuwait. There's Egypt. So he's traveled to Egypt. Hold on just a minute. Let me see if I can make this picture bigger. Oh, I can't because there's terrorist images. Okay, I better not do that. There's terrorist images on there. Gross. Yuck. Okay. If you have developed a profound dislike for this man, put a 1 in chat. If you don't just dislike him, but you hate his guts, put a 2. Horrible. It's a horrible. This is horrible. I can't even, I mean, it's just the saddest thing. It's just sad. We got Abdallah Al-Suri, Aval Ayed. Interesting. Huh. Gonna have to do some looking. Looks like it's a video. I'll see if I can go back to it and play the video. More names. Wow, I can't believe they put names. Abdul Rahman Al-Zawabi. I mean, that's crazy. Remember the military picture, right? It's him. That's him. Holy shit. I can't believe she's a stupid. I can't believe she did this. Driver's license. Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Very nice furniture. And you got to wonder what his mom and dad are thinking right now. Terrible. Engineer Al-Rafai. That little child is all over the place. Yuck. He looks gross. Nasser. He's got some really bad visuals on this page. Really bad. I can't believe Facebook has left it up. Oh my God. Terrible. Awful. All right. So, let's see if there was anything else. So in December 2024, the United Nations estimated 1.4 million people out of an estimated 14 million displaced Syrians had returned to their areas of origin. It was included 1 million internally displaced people and 370,000 refugees from neighboring countries. Many found their homes in rubble and their communities gutted by years of war and economic collapse. 600 civilians have been killed by landmines, many of whom were families attempting to return to their homes. There are no, listen to this, there are no visible mechanisms to reclaim your land or your property except for those dispossessed by regime-linked demographic engineering. Do you know what that means? Let me read again. For those dispossessed by regime-linked demographic engineering, there are no viable mechanisms to reclaim land or property. That means that if you are part of HTS, you can just go in and claim whatever house you want. But if that was originally your house, you have no claim to it. It doesn't matter if you have paper. The army of the winning group, the HTS right now, they're taking whatever they want. Is that why Salah says that he's going to, go to see if his house is finished? Is he just claiming his property? As sectarian tensions persist, the risk of a renewed conflict remains. Well, I mean, it never left. They're killing each other every day. With no credible framework for safe voluntary return in place, the prospect of sustainable reintegration is bleak. That's where your cutie beauty is. Reintegration is bleak. And this white paper that was put out is only like 5 weeks old. Syria's humanitarian coordination system is in flux. The interim government is piecing together an emerging national framework to guide aid efforts, at times leaning on policies instituted initially by the Assad regime. The United Nations is transitioning from a whole of Syria model with delivery hubs both inside Syria and in neighboring countries to a cluster system run entirely out of Damascus. The NGO-led aid coordination mechanism in the northeast of the country, and Chantal and Salah are in the south. Run out of the northeast has been largely defunded by U.S. aid cuts. The resulting situation is sidelining key actors and undermining efforts to deliver to communities in need. Comprehensive U.S. sanctions have been lifted. They need an approach that distinguishes between punitive sanctions on individuals and broader country-level economic restrictions. Easing restrictions on humanitarian transactions, essential goods, and private sector investment would reduce suffering and bolster U.S. standing. Sanctions relief, if carefully calibrated, could preserve U.S. leverage while offering a lifeline to a country on the brink, advancing both strategic and humanitarian goals. The European Union is already reassessing its sanctions framework to open space for engagement. Without a parallel shift in U.S. policy, American sanctions risk becoming the principal obstacle to international recovery efforts. The there's a big problem too. The money that is being directed to Ukraine, that really dramatically undercuts what is available to be diverted to Syria, right? It really, this is a huge problem. But in Syria, Salah is in charge and she is property. Men hold wives' passports. 100%, Kelly. Absolutely. She will, I would believe, my guess, she will contact me and she will say, would you please get my paycheck out of the bank and wire the money to us or to me in Syria? And then when the money comes, Salah will take it and she will be locked in a room. It doesn't even look like he's going to try to let her make videos. So something is really wrong with Foodie Beauty. Yeah, Anita, that is my hope. My fingers are crossed that any moment she's going to put out a video and she's going to be sitting pretty in Canada, or she's going to be in Florida with her grandpa, or she's going to be in Thailand wearing her goofy hat. So yeah, that is the very best case scenario, Anita. Just keeping fingers crossed. She posted she's making food. She claims she will post content. Yeah, Kara, I think there's been 2 posts about food, right? And I think that the picture that she posted where she's sitting in a garden and it looks like she's drinking coffee. Take a look at her finger, like around her nails. They're badly injured, which at first I thought this is an old picture. This is a picture from when she was in Kuwait, right? That's what I was thinking. Then I got to looking really close to see if the picture was marked up, if it was somehow modified by AI or something else. And I noticed her fingertips. Her fingertips are in bad shape. So it doesn't look really good for her, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's exactly right, Kelly. It is not. I guess, hold on and I'll find it. Take me just a second and then I'll switch it over. Okay. Hold on. Uh-oh, no, can't do it right now. I've got an issue that pops up every now and then with my computer. So I am now going to go back to the original video. Evil Salah, doomed, Foodie Beauty. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play through. So let me make sure you guys can see it. And I'll be quiet now.
Forbidden and taboo, they broke every law, their hearts beating true. Oh, food beauty, foolish and old, do your worst, she cried, her story unfolds. Now in serious dust, where shadows abide, an outlawed queen with nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, cruel sting. Her emptiness burns, she will do anything. Her stomach is empty, her soul even worse. Her need for a man's love is her very worst curse. In Kuwait she taunted, do your worst. Defiant and proud, she retreated and cursed. But the law struck hard, now a life of crime. They fled to the
That's a terrorist
warlands, no
bastard, if you
rhythm,
ask
no
me.
rhyme. Now in the ruins of
He's
Syria,
a serious
hope
problem.
fades. No
His eyes
Wi-Fi,
are
no
cold.
air, no bright yesterday. The table is bare, the faucet dry as stone.
This is so bizarre.
Her love by her side, an empty, cruel home.
This was a humiliation thing. What he's making her
Oh,
stay awake.
for
Look how sleepy she is.
beauty, foolish and bold.
Look at her eyes. He's forcing her to stay awake.
She cried, her story untold.
He was totally
Now in
groomed.
Syria's dust, where shadows abide. And now, Lord,
He's gonna laugh at her here in a minute.
nowhere to hide. No water, no light, just hunger, horse stain. Her heart is
And
hungry.
she kind of stumbles and he's laughing as she stumbles.
So you guys have been watching a lot of like videos of
Now
like
watch him close. Somebody's gonna message him right before he corrects.
like people who get in accidents. Like, did you see that like tragic death of that kid, that
Sits beside her.
14-year-old guy who
Somebody has
was like
messaged
too
him.
heavy for the ride? So the restraint didn't fit him properly and he like fell off the ride.
Watch.
He like fell.
Fix your hijab.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
He fell.
And then he growls like he
It
goes.
was crazy.
Like he's so irritated that she's not following all his training.
Thank you, honey.
Okay. Now, I had some people take issue with me on this, and that's great. That's fine. But let me explain why I felt like this was really ominous. So we're going to take one more look. Watch.
Oh, sorry.
Totally minimize.
He fell. It was crazy.
He's irritated. Camping in the desert heat. Having these humiliation rituals on camera, teaching her to be submissive, choking her in play. And there were a few people that said, oh, come on, that isn't choking. What are you talking about? Well, just watch. Okay. So he looks down at his hand. And he's kind of just got his hand around. It looks kind of loving and playful, correct? Now, remember, it's haram for there to be public displays of affection between a man and a woman. It's appropriate, it's perfectly fine for there to be public displays of affection between men or between two women, but not between a man and a woman, even if it is your spouse. Okay, it's not, it is against their rule, Sharia law. So he's already doing this. The camera's rolling and he looks at his hand, but then watch how he pulls even closer to get his hand down closer around her neck. See?
Thank you, honey.
Then he laughs. She's like, thank you, honey. God only knows why she's thanking him. I wouldn't thank him, but hold on. She thanks him. Let me see if I went for it.
Thank you, honey.
Now listen to his laugh. You want to know why he's laughing? He's laughing because he's sitting there imagining choking her or breaking her neck. She says, thank you, honey, misinterpreting this moment as an act of affection. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. Just like he laughed at her when she tripped going up the stairs, just like he laughed at her when he was forcing her to stay awake all night in the desert heat. It's chilling right there. Terrifying.
Whoa, it's too hot, man. We are melting over here. I'm telling you all. But it's nice experience, right, babe?
Yeah, it'll be cool later.
So, guys, I just want to.
No, it's not a nice experience. I will tell you, it is a horrible experience to be in the desert with no air conditioning. It's a nightmare. You have sweat glands that you had no idea even existed. And the dust is in the air. It's not just on the ground, it's everywhere, and it sticks to any part of your body that is exposed. Everything is muddy. When you try to eat something, it's got, crunchy grains of sand in your food. There's nothing pleasant about this at all. And listen to this. They don't have to be in the heat because there is a room that has an air conditioner. There's an air conditioned room. So why is he forcing her to sit out in the heat? And more important, doesn't it seem convenient that she seems to be wearing the same dress here that of the picture of her holding the teacup? I think that picture was taken when they were camping in the desert in Kuwait. I think he posted an old picture of her and said, "This is Chantal now." I don't believe she's the one that's posting.
Say that it's our second anniversary here, me and my beautiful wife. So I decided to spoil her and, hang out together here in peace, alone, have fun. Yeah, just enjoy the camping here together.
So you spoiled your bride on her second anniversary by taking her out into the dirt in 115-degree heat, where she has to wear multiple layers of clothing. Salah, you're a moron.
So I hope you'll enjoy it, baby.
Oh yeah, so far I am. It's really hot, but like I said, it's so quiet and peaceful, and it's romantic. And thank you.
Romantic? What's romantic about it, Chantal? I've been there. There's not a damn thing romantic about it other than late at night, the sky, right? The stars and stuff is really, because there's no ambient light anywhere. But to sit around in the heat like this, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And any of these places that you go to, they're air conditioned. So why are they here at this place? He's going to spoil her? Yeah, you destroyed her, you fucker.
So much, babe.
You deserve it.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, honey.
And to many more years together.
Inshallah, sweetheart.
Oh, inshallah, right? Look at him. Was that ominous or what? Does that look like a man in love to you? Would he send you to a war zone? He's laughing. He's working for his army.
Who stinks? Me?
Now, this is the live she did when she first got her apartment in Canada, like 2 weeks ago, literally. I want you to listen to the words she's speaking.
No, I don't actually. Okay, this better puff up. Here we go. Here I go. I know, Cleo. Did you guys expect me? Oh, stink. Did you guys expect me to go live today? Maybe it's not a good time to go live. Katie King. He's great. I miss everyone. I miss my mods. I hope eventually. Okay, this is gonna puff up. Tired. I have a story time before I tell you a story time, okay?
I'm just lifting this a little bit, sorry, but all right. Which story time do you want first? Hey, Nicole. Yes, I miss you guys. A walk-in closet. Rosie, thank God it's been awful without you. Oops. Hey. What? What? Doesn't matter. This is the place to be right now, guys. Krista, not yet. Dream, welcome to our premiere. Welcome to our premiere stream.
So she left Kuwait in fear of being arrested. She ran to Canada. Salah ran to Syria because they were in imminent danger. I guess they thought of being arrested. Someone told them they were in imminent danger, and they took off. And she spends about a week and a half, 10 days, it seems, with her mom, maybe. And then suddenly she pops up, has an apartment in Canada. And this is it. This is the first return since the last time she was in Kuwait. She's crying, saying, I'm out of here. I can't live like this. I'm not going to live in a country where I can't express myself. You don't know what it's like to keep it in. You don't know what it's like to keep your thoughts in, to have no opinion. I'm not like this. I'm not built this way. I have to be able to express myself. And the next day she got on an airplane and was back in Canada where she could what? Express herself. 2 weeks later, she would be sitting her happy ass in Daraa, Syria. The most astounding level of stupidity ever seen on the streets of YouTube.
It's daytime. Strawberries. Welcome to our permission recipes. Teardrop. Oh my gosh, I'm giving you guys all a hug. I missed you so bad. Oh my God, you have no idea how much I miss you guys. Do you hate when influencers do that? They're like talking and they're like, I don't know what's up with. Like, hey, we get it. Trixie, glad you're safe. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Give me a second.
For a man. Don't do that, ladies. No man is worth your safety and freedom. No man.
Maybe later. I want to grow my visa army. If you need mod, thank you guys. ECP, Simply Chris, I appreciate it. I think I'm okay for now. Carefree. I missed you guys too. Date me. Quick modding ceremony. Okay, so I am live from my own freaking apartment. I'm in my bedroom. Okay, here's what happened. So all right, so when my last live, I was kind of like,
that was Salah.
1-800 number. Who's that?
That was Salah.
The 1-800 number start pouring in. Okay, hold on, guys. I gotta change. I cannot. Ugly and clean. So let me just change. I need some. Okay. You don't know all the work I have to do. This is insane, and this is all on my own. Oh, months. Hold on. I just gotta do one. Okay, very clear. Okay, I love Kuwait. I appreciate the almost 3 years I came back on and off there. Okay, like I had some really good times there. It is a beautiful country, but it's not for me because I need to be in a country where I won't get like a big fine or put in jail for how my mouth is, right? Julia is with Salah, and Salah and Julia are very safe.
You need to be in a country where you can, your mouth won't get you in trouble. And so you chose Syria? Oh, what?
I'm not going to tell you where they are right now, but I basically was waiting to go live so that I could just focus on Jarilla, SJM.
Salah was in Syria.
So that I can, there's so much to say. What's up, SJM? I'm glad they're safe. Kayla, loyalty bees season time. Kayla, repeats. Thank you, Kayla. Thank you. Okay. I know I talked to I talked to a couple of you, and thank you so much. Like, I know who I can trust now. I've developed like few friendships on here, and I know people that if you didn't spill this tea that everyone wanted, you are a good friend. Down under, welcome to Like being in Canada, I'm hyper. Erica, welcome to Producer Peace. Sorry, they're a bit half-assed. I gotta get my story time out. So I after that live stream, my last live stream, I was very emotional.
First video in Syria.
I have done some things like that. Yes, like swearing is no in Kuwait, and I've done that a lot. Like when I would get mad and swear at haters or whatever. And but
in Syria, if you're with ISIL, they'll cut your tongue out of your head, Chantal, so that you can't cuss. That's something special to look forward to.
The majority of the things like I was being accused of, not true. So like, I'm sorry, but like I love Kuwait, but that organization, we won't even talk about that. Very unprofessional, very, and they just sound like haters, BBJ and Lilith looking for recipes. You might get combo ready set visas. Dolly Moore looking for recipes. Anything I've ever done there, Jen looking for recipes. Oh my gosh, Karen looking for recipes. Anything I've done there, I might be stupid. So if I broke a law that way, okay, but I never intentionally meant to disrespect the country.
Now think about this. After everything that we have looked at today, with Salah, the way he treats her directly, the way that his connections in his history, the fact that his family was from this area that is now ISIL and Al-Qaeda run, does it seem bizarre that she's so excited and animated to be home in her own apartment alone? Right? You're thinking, this isn't love. Like, as well as I do, if you were ripped away from the person that you loved, your partner, if you're ripped away from them, there is an intense yearning, correct? She just went live. Good, Harley. Go over there and watch it. That was my hope. That was my hope, that if we did this live, that she would see it and she would feel forced to go live. So let's see what ends up happening. Can one of the mods please let her know Foodie just went live? Yes. Foodie, you're so damn predictable, girl. You are a mess. Okay, so anyway. So you have an intense yearning, right? When you're torn away from your partner, from the person that you feel safest with. Does she look like she's in deep yearning? No, she's manic. She's excited. She's looking a little red in the face. That's hilarious. Well, I'm sure she is red in the face. I'm going to peek over there, and I knew that if someone started really showing the conditions, that there would be pressure for her to go live. So that's great. She's wiping Salah poop. Oh God, Diamond Paw, please. She's crazy about him. I don't think she's crazy about him. I think she is so hungry to be loved, right? I think she's hungry to be loved by anyone, because this right here doesn't look like she's in deep yearning and loss and grief for her loved one. She says, oh, Jules is great. She's safe. She's with Salah. They're in a really safe place. No, they're not. She is just giggling and happy and on top of the world. And then when the problems started, she got the cat, and then they doxed her location. And when all that happened, then she took off to Syria. It's the most bizarre thing I've ever seen. Who would choose Syria over Canada? No one. Zero regrets. No one. That's the point. It's mindless. It's just mindless. Unless you're living in a delusional state. Unless you're living a world, you're out of touch with reality. That you have poor reality testing. That's the only way that you convince yourself that Daraa, Syria, not even Damascus, Syria, Daraa, Syria is better than Cornwall? What? So crazy. Oh, so the guy who is president right now, Alan Stiles, he is Al-Qaeda. He is Al-Qaeda. He was very good friends with Bakr al-Baghdadi in Iraq. They had a huge falling out. They had a huge fight. And when they fought, then he reestablished his group under a name HTS. And then, Bakr al-Baghdadi was, assassinated, and some American special forces is now wearing his Rolex watch. But the new guy is now president of Syria. He's ex-Al-Qaeda. So Al-Qaeda is got a lot of power now in Syria. They're considered mainstream. They're normalized now. They're the government revolutionaries. They're the government securities. And Salah is moving freely in and out of an ISIL controlled area, which means one thing. He has to be ISIL. Otherwise, there's no way he would be moving freely in and out of that area. And he would absolutely have to be connected to ISIL or Al-Qaeda because they've given him a house. They've given him a house there. You heard, I read you the thing from the United Nations. You can't go back and reclaim your property unless you are part of the liberation forces. That's it. To the victors go the spoils, right? If you get into a civil war and your side loses, your house, your property, all your fine things, they go to the army on the other side that beat you. It's just the way it is. And so we now know Salah has a house in Daraa. He is exactly what I've been telling you guys he was. So, boom, there you go. It is a done deal. And she is insane to think that that Salah's connections make him a great provider. She's crazy. She doesn't understand the role of women in an Islamic city. A true Sharia law under Islamists is women are cattle get treated better than the women. And the fact that she can't have birth, she will be nothing more than a maid. They'll turn her into a maid, and that'll be that. He will give her opium to shut her up. There is a lot of opium in Syria. They smoke bango. It is like marijuana. There's a lot of cocaine and stimulant use that the ISIL fighters really like. But yeah, there's tons of drugs in Syria for sure. Yeah, well, she's only got a few more days, Alan, that she'll even be able to leave the country. If she stays longer than 14 days, that Lebanon, Jordan, they will not allow her back into their country. And since she did not register with the Canadian government, they're not going to come to her rescue either. Look up Captagon. I like your name, Mermaid Motel. Yeah, it's devastating, Diamond Paw. I hope she will leave. I hope she will load up and get the hell out of here if she can. She is sweating. Her face is very swollen. Her eye looks really bad. She's making excuses as to why the power is being cut off, but all she has is the fan to kill herself off. She looks bad. But here's the other thing, Zelda. She has a fan, but if there's no electricity, the fan doesn't run either. So for every 4 or 5 hours of government electricity, they get 1 hour of electricity. So 5 hours without, 1 hour with. The building that Salah got does not have solar power. She's FUCK'd. No, women cannot go to school. They do not go to mosque. Now, people are going to say, that's not true. Don't lie. Okay. Yes, women do have to have mosque. Their men teach them about Allah and prayer and the role of women. So their men teach them. They go to mosque, but they go to like a back room that's cut off from everyone else. They don't get to go into the actual very, very beautiful and ornate worship area. That is just for men only. The women are put in just little nothing rooms, and that's where they pray. You be okay, you sweat, you good, little potato face. Is that what he said, Diamond Paw? She's complaining her knees are all banged up from having to sit on the mats. She says the million times worse there in Syria. Of course it is. It's sad how women are taught they need to be married or they'll be an old maid. 100%, Alan. And if there's no other reason to cover this story, the tale of Foodie Beauty, women, love yourselves. Disney was full of bullshit. Don't believe the stories of Cinderella and Snow White. You don't need men. You don't need a stamp of approval from a man. You are everything all on your own 2 feet. You don't need a man to make you significant. You have to discover the great things that you like about yourself and then remind yourself every day of what a wonderful person you are. There is no need to follow a man to the other side of this globe just to say, I have a stamp of approval. Even if you spend the rest of your life in an apartment with cats, that is better than turning yourself into a slave to an Islamic terrorist bastard. Love yourself first. Do not let a man put a stamp of approval on you. You are not a piece of meat. You are not a steak. You're a human being. No one gets to approve of you except you. Be proud of yourself. Don't ever give up your identity, ever, for anyone, male or female. Know who you are and be proud of yourself, please. ISIL used women to recruit other women. They used the internet for it, romanticizing it, making it look nice and homey. When they're there, it's hell. Yeah, no, you're 100% right. Hey, Serenity, how are you? They don't have a refrigerator. Just crazy what she's done. Someone go into her chat and tell her she's only got a few more days to get out of the country. She's got to get back into Lebanon. She won't listen to me because she hates me because I do videos about her. Someone's got to tell her to go back to Lebanon now. Now, today. To tell Salah that she will send to him all of her YouTube money, but she's got to go to Lebanon. It's so sad. Yeah, anyone who is wise enough to direct her, she's already blocked. But if you are not blocked, do this woman a favor. Do not tell her she's living an exotic life. Do not do that. You are signing her death warrant. She's got to get back into Lebanon so that she can go anywhere. I don't care. If she wants to go to Nigeria to live, if she wants to go to Egypt, she's got to get out of there or she's doomed. She was glorifying it there. Typical woman being used to get others to join the cause. Something is wrong. Oh my God. She's going to steal a chicken. Yeah, they'll cut her damn hand off for stealing. They'll cut her tongue out if she cusses as Muslima. Oh my God. It's terrifying. Hey, Salah, you're watching and you're listening because you're a narcissistic bastard. Fuck you. Fuck you, Salah. The whole world's watching. They know what you are. You are a joke, Salah. You're nothing. Look at you. Look at you over there in Syria. Don't have any way to make any kind of money at all using a Western woman. A Western woman is better than you. Look at you're a joke among men. You're no better than a donkey, Salah. You're a donkey. You're an ass. Oh my gosh. Makes me so mad. Women, value yourselves. Do not fall prey to these foolish games. You don't need a man's approval this bad that you would put yourself in a war zone. Bonnie and Clyde were not star-crossed lovers having a romantic time. They were bleeding on one another. Their friends were dying and bleeding out in the car. There was poop being spread throughout the car when they died. This is not romance. This is not love. This is bullshit. This is an illusion that they're selling you. Yeah, Finland is a damn sight. It's damn sight different. Mermaid Motel. Put on a tarp, eat pita all day. You know, and let me tell you about that pita bread. That bread is actually like a food pantry in the U.S. The government makes the bread and then they hand it out to the poor people. So that's all they're eating. That he didn't have anything. So sad. So sad. So sad. Oh my God. Chantal, get your cat. Go to Lebanon. Go to your grandpa in Florida. Go anywhere. You have to get out of there. You have to get out of there. Even though sanctions have been lifted, over $600 million of America U.S. aid was going to Syria for humanitarian food, medication. You guys are not getting that anymore. It's gone. The U.S. aid has been destroyed. It is no more in the United States. So he took that money away and he lifted sanctions so that businesses could come in and build up. But it's going to be at least 5 years before that. See if you see any difference. Get your cat and get across the border before it's too late. There was a beeping sound and she went dark. She's live again. She thinks it's a joke. Yeah, well, she gonna fuck around. Excuse my language. She's gonna F around and find out. She's not even thinking about it. That's crazy. I don't think she can leave. Does she have access to a car? Salah said that he has a car. It's got a big hole in the dashboard. Syria's rebuilding. She's a dumbass. She's a complete moron. It's the saddest thing I've ever seen. I've not ever seen anything like this. Wow. Foolish woman. Absolute. And that poor cat, I almost can't stand the thought of the cat. The cat would have been safer on the streets of Kuwait where there's food. There's no food for humans in Syria, much less cats. The sand is going to turn out to be such a problem that they're going to get angry at the cat and throw the cat out. She has never lived on the street, so she's going to be wandering. There's nothing to eat there. It's likely she will become someone homeless person's dinner. But he brought the cat as bait to get Chantal to come back. It's just the most incredible thing. Okay. Anyway, so this was a long live today. You can understand why. It's one of the saddest things that I've really ever seen, where there is a woman who is so hungry to be accepted and so hungry to have someone love her that she would literally put herself in the worst place on the globe. And my message is this: as long as you're safe, you can build anything. The future is bright as long as you're safe. Even Sarah Boone, who is in jail, even Sarah Boone is in a better position than Foodie Beauty. Think about that. Don't do this self. Having a man isn't this important, ladies. It is not this important. Make your choice, who you are and what makes you happy. And then get there and build you a life that brings you joy and happiness and a solid foundation. And if love comes, then that's the gravy. But if you don't find love, so what? You know how many foster kids are out there that are really do need help? They really need a home. Get your little foster kid. Provide a child a safe home with love and laughter and happiness. You don't have to have a man. All right. I gotta go. This is so disheartening. It's one of the saddest stories I've ever seen. You know, when I was in Egypt, we had this cotton sheet factory that we made, and we had very poor people that were working there. They weren't homeless, but they were definitely low SES. And so we had a lot of single women that worked with us, young, like under the age of 25, right? We began to teach them how to get a bank account that nobody would know that it was a girl that had the bank account. We would teach them how to make a bank account so that they could take some of their money and deposit it into their account instead of all of their checks going to their husband or going to their dad or going to their brother. We started teaching them how to do a budget. We started teaching them how to find a place to live, to keep a secret about their money, not to tell people that they had money, because that money was safety. To go and get a hotel room for the night in case their husband was beating them. We did a lot of work trying to help these young women find safety and find independence. Get educated. I had one young woman that we were able to get into college, and she would want to quit. Her parents were mad at her for going to college, and we just kept her excited and focused and motivated, and she became a teacher. So to see that there is a Western woman dumb enough to fall for Salah's bullshit, I can't even tell you how it's so demoralizing to see this. It's just the saddest. It's just terrible. It's sad for the cat who doesn't understand what's happening and is in misery. This woman is so afflicted, she can't even acknowledge the mistakes that she's made. It's just terrible, really terrible. Yeah, it's a backward mess. It is zero. Yeah, totally. All right. Okay, Chantal, get your ass out of Syria, okay? Stop being stupid and be a damn adult. All right, I gotta go. Y'all have a good evening. Bye.